Okay, and finally, last but not least, we're going to multiply or divide. So we've got a couple of examples that I'm going to go through so that we can show you how those work. First one we're going to do is this one where we're going to get that b all alone. So we're going to have to divide both sides by 4. So if we move over to the problem here, we've got 4b is less than 36. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. When I do that, of course, the 4's cancel to become 1. So I have 1b is less than, and 4 goes into 36 9 times. So it would be b is less than 9. So that's what we would have in this particular case. So b is less than 9. We're going to check our. We're good to go. And let's go to the next problem. So let's get rid of that one. And then let's move over to the next problem. So the next problem says that we have multiplying. So we're going to solve it by multiplying. Notice we have negative 3/7 times x is greater than 24. Well, now here is where things are a little bit different than what we normally do. Now, when we are multiplying in this case, and actually, I don't know if I necessarily agree that this is multiplying because we really, I understand. So we're going to be multiplying both sides by the inverse. We could divide and multiply. So we could divide by 3, multiply by 7 if you're used to doing that, but I see why they're kind of saying it this way. But instead, so we got negative 3/7. So let's go over to the problem. I'm going to show you what the difference is on this particular problem. So now we're going to multiply this side by negative 7/3, and we're going to multiply this side by negative 7/3. Okay? Of course, the 7 and the 7 cancel, the 3 and the 3 cancel, and negative times a negative is a positive. So that basically gets rid of everything, and it just becomes x, 1x. Okay, now we go to the other side, and notice we have a negative because this is positive. So positive times a negative is a negative. 24 divided by 3 is, if everybody knows, 8. And then we have our 7. We've already taken care of the negative, so the negatives already come out. But now we have something a little bit different. So anytime we multiply or divide by a negative, not add or subtract, but only multiply or divide by a negative, the sign changes direction. So this is because we multiplied or divided by a negative number. That's the only reason why we switch that arrow. So that arrow switches in that particular case. So notice we have x is less than negative 8 times 7, which we have to do the math. So that is negative 56. So the answer would be x is less than negative 56. So here we do a less than, and we have negative 56. Check our answer, and we're good to go. Okay, so that's how we solve those types of problems. So you have to remember that rule. That's where you have to have it written down. That rule is very important, so you need to know that rule whenever we're dealing with those types of problems. Now, we have a check. We're going to go to that, but actually before we do that, I have some more homework problems that I'm going to do. So notice in this case, now we have to multiply both sides by negative 6. When I multiply both sides by negative 6, remember my arrow is going to change directions. So notice a negative times a negative becomes a positive, so those two become a positive. Notice this negative 6 and that negative 6 cancel to become 1. So we have 6 times 72. And I can't do that in my head, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry a 1. 7 times 6 is 42, so 42, 43, so that's 432. So we have 432 is greater than f. Again, it changed directions because we divided or multiplied by a negative. And then, of course, we just flip those around, so we have f is less than 432. Notice I did that flip at the end. I did not do multiple steps at the same time. I just kind of flipped it around just to see what that problem was going to do. So that's what the answer should be. Okay, another homework assignment now. We're going to divide both sides by negative 2. Here we go again. Multiply or divide by a negative. The sign changes. That becomes negative 16 is greater than y. So y is less than negative 16. If we rewrite it, remember we just flip everything around as we do that one. And then the last thing that you're going to be doing is a check. So you'll notice that you have a check here. And then you'll notice at the end of these resources that you have a video. This video will go through and give you another perspective on how to solve inequalities. So I suggest that you actually watch that.